right now, can I get everybody to just go down in the comments section? Just go down there to the comments right at this moment and just give us a big hashtag RIP Iris. Y'all know what this is. This is the Before You Summon video. While you guys are down there, if you wouldn't mind, just hit that little thumbs up button to help get this, help the analytics a little bit. I would greatly appreciate it. Guys, let's talk about this incoming banner, because you and I both know we're all summoning for this. All that Iris we saved. I've been telling you guys to save for like a month now. We skipped some good banners. I don't think this is a skip. I don't think you can. It's a tough one. I don't think you can afford to skip this banner, if I'm entirely honest. We are less than a month away. Like, we're like, what, 3 weeks, I believe, away from the anniversary. So we're like dangerously close. Like, we're really at that point where it's like, okay, what am I choosing to summon on? And I really think if you don't summon on this banner, you are making a massive mistake. So let's start off by talking about Belle. Now, like we talked about yesterday, all these units are going to be time limited on this banner. Now, we'll talk about a couple other banners, but this banner, all the units are time limited. So who knows when you're going to get another opportunity at them? Probably not for quite a bit of time. I don't remember when the Thunder Argo came back, to be honest. I don't remember. Somebody let me know in the comments section. I really don't recollect. I know we didn't get very many choices with him. So when Thunder Argo and Thunderfina like dropped in the game, I think they came back at a time where we were just like, you know what? Save. So like this is like, treat this basically as your opportunity to acquire these units. Okay. Now I'll talk about something else here towards the end of this, but let's talk about all three of these units first. And basically who to prioritize, okay? Belle, first things first. 3651 is not great HP. That leaves me a little bit... that's like magic unit HP. He's going to be a tiny bit squishy. Now, his defense is really good, but his physical attack is off the charts. His physical attack is phenomenal. 2086 is a crazy good physical attack. His agility is also stupid high. His dex is pretty good, too. Like, this is a phenomenal unit. I mean, aside from the fact he's probably going to squish a bit, but, you know, just give him some really good armor and just make sure you got a healer on the team. You should be all right. You probably will have to run somebody that, you know, is running pretty heavy defense with him. But, guys, you should know how to handle a situation like this at this point in time. In fact, it's oh boy, right here. I'd slightly amended our layout to include him. So, skill 1, mid-light physical attack with ultra and counter rate and temporary strength boost. And then, remember that ultra and counter rate basically means he's not going to get counterattacked, which is nice. Temporary strength boost and light resist down 40%. Now, we do have Althea, the old Althea from the anniversary last year, does light resist down 40%. I think she actually ushered in the 40% meta. I think. I could be wrong. But he's like the physical light unit now that does this. Like, he's crazy good. Self, strength, and light attack damage plus 65%. Not the greatest stats in the world, but for 5 turns, you can't argue. That's great stat right there. Skill 2, fast, high light physical attack with temporary strength boost, removes physical resist and magic resist buffs, except assist skills. So in other words, when he hits, if there's a physical resist or magic resist buffed on your foe, that is gone. Gone. The downside is, remember I told you need to run some defense with him? Well, if you have a Belle fighting you, if you're basically two of these guys fighting together, and somebody actually has those resistances after the first attack, they are gone. They will need to reapply those. So, The nice part is allies 30% HP regen. So while I was critical of the fact that he does lack a little bit of HP, he kind of makes it up there a little bit, if I'm honest. Skill 3 is a foe singular, super light physical attack with high critical rate, 50% skill damage per light resistance debuff on the target. Remember, you should have that on the assist side and the adventurer side. That is 100%. And that, I believe, is the highest we've seen on a single target outside of dedicated single target units. Basically an AoE unit with a single target skill. And I always tell you guys, I always discount skill 3 when there's no percentage buff there. I want to say that's the highest. I could be wrong, but I think that's the highest we've seen as a single target skill on an AoE unit. This might be what they're ushering in with the anniversary. Who knows? But that is actually pretty awesome. I really love this unit. I really do. SA, ultra light physical attack with high penetration rate, temporary great strength boost, removes status buffs, except assist skills. Notice it says removes status buffs. That means when he hits you with that SA, every buff on your team is gone. Defensive, offensive, everything is gone with the exception of what assists do. So really, in like War Game, which is really what you're going to be using a unit like this for, basically you want to make sure that he SAs all the time. Like he is your main SA unit, and that he is just going to wipe everybody out. Remember, we have Familia War Game coming up here really quick. And so if you're talking about Familia War Game tends to have some of those fights that go on a little bit longer. Obviously, your goal is to get within 4 turns, but if you can get an SA on turn 4, that does mean that the rest of your units after that SA can wipe those guys out. So, need I say more? You want this guy. He's awesome. Passives are Fast, Growth, and Nullify Charm, like every bell ever. 35% Dark Resistance, and regular and counter attacks are Light Physical attacks. 15% Physical and Magic Resistance, 25% to every single stat. That's insane. And Oxslayer Skill, because, well, it's Bell. What do you want me to say? He's great. He's awesome. You want to get him. Now, Althea, I think, is the exception to the rule here. I think the other Althea is better, though I'm rather partial to this art for 2 very good reasons. But this unit is still really good. I just don't think it's going to replace the old Althea. Now, her HP is off the charts for a magic unit. 3805 is really good for a magic unit. Magic Attack 2025 is phenomenal for a magic unit. Normally, they're just below 2000. And we're starting to see more of those like exceed the 2000 marks. That's really, really good. MP 364 is okay. It's not the greatest thing ever, but it's all right. Endurance 498. That means she's going to squish pretty effectively. Now, she does have a lot of HP, but her defense kind of sucks. Gonna be honest there. Would love if she had more defenses. Remember, this is completely maxed out. Like, obviously, you max her CP, you're going to get some more defense out of that. But at this point, everybody's had her for a year, so most everybody's probably going to have her at the same same CP level. So I'm just going to say the endurance / defense kind of sucks. Dex is great, though. Agility and the Dex is really high. Double X Dex stats don't come along very often, so that's really nice. She'll be getting a lot of counters. Agility, being 1106, is really high, too. So she's a fantastic unit. Just be aware she probably will squish first on the team because of that, her defense is pretty low. Skill 1, slow, light damage plus 100%. Yup, that's crazy. Now, remember, the other Althea is a fast unit. This is a slow unit. That means that really this is most effective on turn 2, whereas the other Althea is all about rushing in, getting the job done really fast. This unit is all about turn 2. So, light damage 100% for 3 turns. That means the next turn she's going to have a crazy big buff. Allies, counter rate, and guard rate. Notice this is all allies get a counter and guard rate 40%. Once again, like I said, she's all about turn 2. In turn 2, your units are going to tank pretty well, and they are going to counter like crazy. Add 3 additional actions, foes, mid-light magic attack. And somebody did point this out last night. I don't think we've received any units up to this point that have had mid-attacks as their secondary attacks. They've all been low. Having mid is a game changer. Like, if you guys don't know, low already does a crazy amount of damage. Because remember, that slow light damage 100%, if she does that, like, she rebuffs that while she's getting extra turns. So in other words, like, since that is 3 turns, that means on turn 4 you're going to rebuff skill 1. If you rebuff skill 1 on turn 4, that means she's still going to have that 100% light damage, and she's going to do crazy amounts of damage with that. Plus, not to mention turns 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth. So, like, this is big. Like, that mid-light attack is crazy. If we ever get to the point where they're getting highs or supers there, I'm afraid of that situation. But mid is wild. Don't discount that. And I didn't talk much about it yesterday, but don't discount the fact that we're not getting mid secondary attacks. That's crazy. So as much as I'm like, the other Althea is good, slightly better, I think we have to talk about that. Because, I mean, it's like, they're built for 2 different things. One's built entirely for speed. This one's built entirely for the late game. So, just wild. 2 variances, and it's just 2 different types of teams built, pretty much. Skill 2 is a highlight magic attack with temporary magic boost. Magic resistance down 35%. Allies magic plus 40% for 3 turns. Not the end of the world, but I'm going to be honest. you're really going to like couple her with like Haruhime's essay. So she's going to get 100% light and 100% magic. And then she's just going to walk around like queen of the frickin' earth. She's going to be amazing. Now this skill 3 is kind of what I was talking about with Belle, where whenever I see a super light magic attack with temporary great magic boost, that's good, but we need to see the percentages. Great magic boost is going to be good, but I don't think you're ever honestly going to use this. Now great magic boost could be awesome, and we can like, maybe after we pull her, we can do some damage testing with that and see where she winds up, but I really don't feel like that is going to be a substantial hit. I kind of feel like whenever I don't see a percentage boost on skill 3, I immediately kind of throw it away. I think it's kind of a garbage skill. Now, great magic boost, she's still going to do something there, but she's definitely not going to be like your number one. She's not going to be a reliable unit. She's not going to be that random AoE that you throw on a single target team just to kind of like finish the job. She's never going to be that unit, at least in my opinion. But once again, I could be wrong with 100% light damage. Maybe I'm underestimating her, but that's kind of the way I'm looking at it initially. SA, ultra light magic attack with ultra penetration rate, temporary great magic boost, and 50% seal. So she does have an ailment on her SA, but I'm going to be honest, you're rarely going to use that. She's more skill 1, skill 2, and really like late game, helping everybody just kind of take the unit, take out the later part of the teams. She's basically, you're going to put the other Althea on the front line and this Althea on the back line, and then just watch the team go crazy. While she's not a light rush unit, I think the light team is going to come back into prominence in Wargame just because of her. Passive skills, 35% dark resist and magic attack. I mean, I know the light team never went away, but guys, let's be real. We're trying to find forever a way to counter them, and I think this kind of goes back to like, cool, you took out a light unit early game, now you're going to suffer. And I just feel like while the team is still crazy good, it's just got even more deadly because we've got this going on now. But that's me. Could be wrong, but that's my opinion. 35% dark resist, regular attacks and counters are all light magic attack. When countering, this is wild, this is crazy. Listen, when countering, add 1 magic null, except SAs, and remove magic buffs. That means when she counters, think about a war game. When she counters, next turn, she's going to nullify a single magic attack done on her, and whoever she hits with that counter is going to get their magic attack or their magic buff taken away. That's massive. That's huge. Do not discount how awesome that is. And remember, I said she's not as good as Zard and Belle in my opinion. She's still awesome. You still want to max her out. I just kind of feel like she's going to be used in other capacities. She's going to have great uses in Wargame, but it's going to be like specific teams and late game teams. She's not going to be used in like rush teams. She's going to be used in teams that are kind of like there for the long haul. 60% counter damage. So on top of like all the other stuff she does. So she counters with a light magic attack, and she nullifies 1 magic attack, and she takes away your magic attack, and she does 60% damage with that counter. 35, she's a counter monster, really, if you think about it. Because remember, she also buffs counter rate. So, like, basically, you do skill 1, turn 2, as soon as she gets hit, she's like, die. And you're like, oh, well, that's... Glad we had this... Sorry, I didn't mean to nick the mic there. I'm a very expressive person. Like, glad we had this conversation. She's crazy good, guys. Crazy good. 35% magic and dex, 20% damage on penetration. What do you want me to say? She's wild. But I really feel like Zard and Belle are slightly better. Let me explain. Now, Zard HP 3795, I think, deserves to be a little bit higher, if I'm honest. Especially for what he does. I think he deserves to be a little bit higher. And I'll explain why here in a moment. But MP 289 is not bad, not great, not terrible. Kind of mid. That physical attack, though, 2119. I think, I could be wrong, I think that's still the highest in the game. Defense is 605, which is really good. Not double S good, but still really good. Dex 803, agility 892, so he's not a speed monster. This dude's kind of designed to be just like crazy DPS and a bit of a tank because of that defense. Now, hear me out. I know his HP ain't great, but listen. Skill 1, strength plus 40%, fire attack damage plus 50% for 5 turns, and adds, and that's all allies. So all allies get strength and fire attack damage strength 40% and fire attack damage 50%. So basically, none of your other units really need a buff because they've got that buff there. That's not going to be the greatest buff in the world, but it is something definitely very good. Add 3 additional turns, foes, once again, mid-fire physical attack. Remember we talked about that with Althea. Mid, not low, which we've seen for the past year, mid-fire magic attack. That's wild. Skill 2 is a foes, plural, slow, high fire physical attack with temporary strength boost, AoE damage taken plus 35%, which, unless I'm mistaken, I think we got one other unit recently that does 35% AoE damage. I think. I'm trying to recollect who that is. I think we have one other unit that does that. But now that we've got a unit like this that does that, it is crazy. Pair this guy with lead. The Lizard Man? Holy crap. Just, yeah. So, like, you've got, like, the great light wargame build, and now you've got the great fire wargame build just back. Like, they're like, hey, remember we tried to, like, make those units a little less potent? We changed our minds, is pretty much what Riflyer is saying. Skill 3, Super Fire Physical Attack with Temporary Strength Boost, extends status buffs by 1 turn and 50% taunt. What do you want me to say about this guy? He's wild and crazy. He's awesome. SA is Ultra Fire Physical Attack with great Temporary Strength Boost, Strength and Magic minus 50%, Self-Strength plus 100%, and Magic and Physical Resist plus 50%. He becomes a crazy tank when he SAs. And here's the crazy thing about that. Remember, he does 50% taunt. Now, if I go back here for a moment, I was pretty critical about that HP, but that defense is really good. Now, if you go back to the Kid Wealth that we got, his stats were off the chart for a taunt unit. So we got 2 taunt units in a row. I think Wealth has better stats all around, but this is a big but. I think this guy's going to be better because of all of his passives and everything that he's got here. And I think he's going to be more useful than the Kid Wealth is. And as good as the Kid Wealth I thought was for a while, kind of like, I'd rather have Zard, personally. I think he's going to be more useful. Wealth might be better as a tank, but Zard is going to be way more useful in the long run. 35% wind resist. Regular attacks and counters are fire physical attacks. Counters heal 60% of HP dealt and inflict minus 45% strength for 2 turns. When wielding a two-handed sword, 20% damage on critical, 40% strength and dex, 20% magic and physical resist. Guys, you want to max these units out. You really do. This is a banner that is definitely worth your iris, and I hate saying that 3 weeks out of the anniversary. That said, I'm going to drop a video about how to farm iris and get the maximum you can get between now and the anniversary. If you're like me, and you've been following along with what I've been saying for the past year, you have probably held on to quite a few things that will help you farm iris in this time of need. We'll talk about it. But you do want to hit this banner. Once again, if you haven't already, hashtag rip iris in the comments section down below. That's just... It's a rip iris. Like, I mean, we're gonna spend money on this, and they're great units. They're totally worth it. Now, if you don't max them, hear me out. If you do not max these units, then star bonds. In other words, remember I always tell you guys to farm the gnome tickets? Get those gnome tickets ready. Because if you don't max them here, rather than going deeper, do your 10 pulls, and if you don't max them out, get ready to drop some star bonds on these units. Now, I wouldn't go crazy on the star bonds. I definitely wouldn't go any further than, like, 2 or 3, whatever's needed for whatever unit you want to max. But good luck to everybody. This is a great banner, and sorry, hate to tell you to summon 3 weeks out of the anniversary, but yeah. Now, the nice part is, last year during the anniversary, we got so much iris that it's fine. Like, we probably couldn't do a huge amount of summons like at the beginning if we were in this situation. I want to say Thunder Argo dropped like maybe 2 or 3 weeks before this last year, and I want to say a reruns happened over the course of like May, not the end of May. But if I'm honest here, either way, we started the anniversary with a decent amount of iris, and they gave us so insanely much iris. I don't think you're really in... I don't think you're in a world of hurt at this point. I think like you will have some time to accrue iris during the anniversary. You might not be able to summon when the banners drop, but you will get the iris eventually. So don't be too worried. Just, you're gonna have to be frugal going forward. Getting into that, So we'll talk about the frugalness here in just a moment. But first, let's talk about the 3rd anniversary event and the units you want to acquire, because that's actually going to take us into the next topic. The Astrological Festival Gacha. Now, if you guys weren't here for the 3rd anniversary, if you missed some units out of the 3rd anniversary, this is a fantastic option. You're going to get 7 opportunities, all these 4-star 11 draws, all these guaranteed to drop one of these units. And it seems like, so select an applicable 4-star unit to draw from the lineup. So this seems like it's going to work like the Celestial Festival Gacha, but this is the Astrological Festival Gacha. So basically you're going to pick one unit, and one applicable 4-star unit is guaranteed from this 11 draw. So it's like if you pick one, it seems like, it's guaranteed there, which is nice. And this is paid, though. You're not going to be able to use free-to-play Iris there, but if you need some of these units... Because let's face it, these units are still really good. A lot of these units are just fantastic still. This is how I would do it. And I'm always like the guy that's like, hey, free-to-play, go. Spend money. Just spend money. I hate to say that, but that's my 2 cents in the matter. Now, if you can't spend money or you don't want to spend money for whatever reason, we are getting reruns. These are going to be good through basically this Thursday through next Saturday, 6/3. So you can pull on these banners. They are reruns, so they are going to be basically half price for the odd draws and the even draws. So 2, 4, 6, 8. Those are all 10, of course. Those are all going to be regular price, and they're all going to be guaranteed 4-stars. So there is that benefit to this. Now, should you summon on this? Artie is 100% worth it. He is not. I have him maxed. I've used him maybe this many times since the anniversary. Just not worth. 100% worth. She is great. But if you want my opinion, this is the place to try to get her. But Artie is absolutely fantastic. Estrella is actually pretty good too. I use her a fair amount of times. But the Finn assist on the other banner. Now, Riv, you see me use Riv and the physical Elise. You see me use those units a lot. They're very good. But if there's one on each banner, that Finn assist, I use him, if not every single team, like 99.9% of teams. That Finn assist is great. If you were not here during 3rd anniversary, he is worth spending a few bones on because he's very good. And the nice part is, if you've been doing what I've been telling you guys to do, farming gnome tickets and all that, you can get one now, and then you can save, and you can basically build him up over time with your star bonds. You'll be able to acquire star bonds over a period of time. I do not see him getting replaced. Elise and Riveria, they will probably have replacements. I do not see him ever being replaced, at least not for a very, very, very long time. And the best thing I could say about this, so when Casino Seer dropped in the game, she was 100% for whatever unit, 100% SA gauge charge for whatever unit she was tied to. Finn is now 33% for all allies as an assist. And oftentimes, he hasn't replaced her, he works with her. So there is something to be said for, like, if they ever try to replace him, it might actually wind up replacing him. It might just be someone that works along with him once again. Maybe even finally replaces Casino Seer or something. I don't see Finn getting replaced anytime soon. I don't see Artie getting replaced anytime soon. I hate to say Estrella could be replaced, but she kind of could. He's garbage. And those two are great, but they could very easily get replaced. Now comes the hard part. Because this banner, the Summer Carnival B, the Summer Carnival 2, whatever you want to say, the one with Eyes and Hestia and Lunar. I even just used that Lunar just recently. So, or no, she's the one I got last night. Never mind. I take it back. I've never honestly used her. But that banner is okay at best, but I think you can skip it. Now, the Summer Carnival A banner. It is worth noting. So, these two banners are time limited. These two are not. If you're drowning in Iris and you're like, I want a really good unit, the Lena on that first banner is phenomenal. The Seer on that banner I use all the time. Even Haruhime isn't bad. But Seer and Lena are fantastic. That Lena is probably one of the top 5 units in the game, in my opinion, as far as single target units go. I adore that unit. I use her at every possible opportunity. But if you're free to play, and let me specify this very specifically, if you are free to play and you're looking to save Iris for the anniversary, these 2 banners you can skip because they are not time limited. You can get these units just about anywhere. These units are time limited. Artie is unique, and Artie will probably never be back, but she is unique CP. Estrella is unique CP, and Elise is unique CP, but I feel like Finn and Artie are really your 2 best choices here, if you absolutely must, and if you weren't around for these banners when they initially dropped. If you could avoid spending on them, though, I would do that, and I would save for the anniversary, because I really feel like the anniversary is going to be worth your Iris. I hate having this conversation because it's very, very, very hard for me to do, and it's hard to balance, like, who should my free-to-play people summon for and all this, but her and Finn are worth if you don't have them. But that said, you can get 1 and then save your star bonds and upgrade them down the road. They probably will not be back ever again after this, to be honest with you, except on like random paid banners. I do not expect these 2 to ever return after this on a non-paid banner. Just let that sink in for a moment, because then we've got this banner. If you don't have lead, he's amazing. That Winnie, I think, is kind of okay. She's kind of... I don't use her much. Sophia is... Not Sophia, but Fia is good. But I still think you can skip, because all of these banners are non-time limited. All these banners, these units are going in the general pool, or been in the general pool for a really, really, really long time. That said, I really want to get some Bonds of Ray. I hate to say I might spend money on this, but I might go after Ray. But before I do that, I really want that Osphie, personally. That said, if I were you and you're free to play, I would skip these. As great as that Belle is, as great as that Hestia is, they're in the general pool. Those 2 units are fantastic. Awesome units. And I hate to tell you to skip those units, but if you're going after the new Belle, if you're going after the banners, the new banners that we're getting tonight, I would definitely say skip that banner, as good as they are, and hope that you eventually get them on a ticket or get them somewhere, because they're good, they're great, but I kind of feel like they're soon to be a bit withdrawn from the game, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to be as useful. Every unit on these banners is approaching a year old. These units are about 9 months old, give or take. 6 to 9 months old, so they're reaching an age. Idle Osphie is the only exception to the rule. She's still like terrifying to see. I don't know if she's ever going to be replaced, but that's kind of like my rare situation where I'm like, I'd really love to climb the Jester ranks and maybe even one day make the hero ranks in Wargame, and that's just me personally. I'm just putting that out there. But for most of my free-to-play players, all 4 of these you can skip. Now, there are more reruns, but because we're already at a half hour of this video, I'm going to save the rest of those for next week, and we'll talk about those, because nothing else is dropping until next week, and we can have that conversation then. But for now, hopefully this helps you guys out, okay? So to sum up, you're summoning on this. Shut up, you're summoning on this. It's great. Hashtag Rip Iris in the comments. If you can afford to get those units I was talking about, the Artie and the Finn units, if you can afford to get them with paid, do it. And then skip the free-to-play Iris on these banners. If you are free-to-play, I hate to say ignore that Lena. I love that Lena and that Seer, but hopefully you pull them. They're kind of like Belle and Hestia. Like, I love them. I really think Lena is just fantastically worth. But that's me as like the record buster whale. And I kind of think maybe you should skip those two. If you need Artie, she's a great healer, she's great defensive, she's great all the way around. You gotta have Finn. If you don't have Finn, you hit that banner. Get one of him and then back out. If you need a good healer, if you need a good support unit, get one of her and back out. And once again, I'm talking to free-to-play people. If you're a whale, just go ham. And then skip these 4. Hard decisions, guys. We got more hard decisions next week. Like, comment, share. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not. Stay up to date with all this. We'll be back next week with the other round of these, and we got more to talk about. We got data mines and all that stuff coming up here really soon. I'm exhausted. I need a break. This was a stressful video to make. I'm not lying. This was just a slew of just insanely difficult decisions.